The NBA began to embrace Martin Luther King Day back in the late 80s. In fact, when it was basically signed into national holiday by Ronald Reagan. And it was something that no other sports league has done. And you can attribute this to former Commissioner David Stern. In fact, of the things you can remember him for, it's probably one of the best, maybe the best thing that David Stern ever did in focusing racial diversity into the public consciousness, specifically the sports consciousness. It would make sense the NBA, which is an extremely racially diverse league, would embrace Martin Luther King Day. And one of the things that is part of David Stern's legacy is making it an event, making the actual day something akin to the Christmas Day games that you see. And it has become, over time, an integral part of the NBA DNA. While we have made tremendous racial progress in sports, there is still a lack of minority owners, specifically African American owners in sports. There are other areas that you could work on, that everyone can work on, to further and advance racial equality in this country. And like everything else, it starts with sports. Since our national consciousness seems to be fomented around sports, it is in this arena that you will see where it starts. There is no better league to start and to put a period on where racial equality begins and where it needs to spread out from. And my biggest compliment to what the NBA is and what it has become in the intervening 30 years since the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday came into being is that they have taken the these ideals of Martin Luther King and fomented it into their DNA. And through this DNA, you can now spread that out to other avenues of life. LeBron James is one of the most powerful people in all of sports. African-American man. Think about this 30 years ago when the Martin Luther King holiday came into being. Would that have happened? We don't know. And this is something that the NBA is the forerunner of and should be complimented on to the fullest extent. It's an amazing part of the DNA of the NBA, and I'm very happy to have covered this league for the last 7 years, knowing that this is part of it. Anyway, thank you for joining me on Nuggets Coffee Break. You can subscribe right here. I will try to make these more regular. I can't promise that. You can also check out our last video right there. And as always, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.